And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world. It is Bitcoin Ben, here for the daily what in the pluck is going on with cryptocurrencies and the rest of the world. My friends, I don't know if you realize just how much America is going to change this year. I'm not talking next year. I'm not talking in 6 months. Well, also in, like 6 months. But this year, think about the Supreme Court. And let me give you some historic context on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is every judgment off of the Supreme Court is like a cornerstone shift in our legal society, where if they make a judgment, there are cases that are ruled on off of that judgment. There is a legal precedence set with each judgment. And to hurry cases along, lawyers will point at a case and say they'd like a judgment actually based off of another case. And judges approve that all the time. Well, as you remove really bad laws, all of the laws that are actually built on top of those laws, they go away because because those laws on top of laws, they don't have an original settlement. They have a precedent settlement. So they weren't ruled on their own merits. They were ruled on actually based on the precedent of the original laws. Yesterday, the Supreme Court overruled the law that basically makes it illegal to pray in schools, or allows it to be made illegal to pray in schools. They got rid of that. That means praying in school, and schools that are based on religion have more freedom now. This is such a fundamental, great day. All right. This is what we want. Freedom is coming back in style. Now, the right to pray in school does not mean that the school can force the children to pray. That's not what that means. And that's the key. It revolves around freedom, because I know that people have heard a slogan, and that's all it is. The separation of church and the separation of the state. That's not in the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that you have to separate government from a religious reason for making a judgment or making a law. So, what this means and why this translates over to the Bitcoin. My friends, you have to understand where we're going, the direction that the Supreme Court is taking us is what I like to call absolute ownership. Absolute ownership is you own your body, you own your labor, you own your private property, absolutely. And you have rights that are fundamentally un there's no ability from the government to remove those rights from you. They are fundamental. They are God-given, nature-given rights. And how you know that a right is a fundamental natural right is you see it in nature. Nature, everything in nature has the right to exist. But not everything in nature has the ability to exist. All right. Here's an example. You have a big tree. Then you got a little tree. Well, that huge tree gets a bunch of sunlight. Oh, it gets all the sunlight it can take. That little tree doesn't, because the big tree blocks its shade. But that big tree blocks its shade just existing. It isn't going out of its way trying to block the shade of the little tree. The little tree has to work around the shade of the big tree who receive its sunlight. So it has the right to exist. But just because of how life is, it doesn't have the right to tell the bigger tree, hey, move over. You're because of you, I have to work harder. That's on the little tree. It's up to the little tree to work harder. It's not up to the bigger tree to move. It's just how life is arranged. And you can't chop the bigger tree down so that the little tree has an easier time at life. That's just how life is. And that's accepting the reality of nature. This is a wonderful time to be alive. This is so many of you are going to be happy with the next few years because we're returning to the days of absolute ownership. And the Bitcoin is going to help that. And eventually, once the liberals smarten up and they learn about the Bitcoin, they're going to see how now we have the tool that will allow humans to maximize freedom. Let me elaborate. Now, for the next 15 minutes, what I'm going to tell you, you have to fundamentally understand how much this is going to improve the human experience, improve the lives of humans. Here we go. We're moving into a new world of absolute ownership and absolute rights. Now, the Bitcoin, the liberals want a social net. They want a social guarantee. They want social security. They want socialism, basically. What we can now do is remember absolute ownership of your labor means zero taxes. We're moving towards a zero labor tax environment. And you say, Ben, how do you know that? How can you say that and know it? Because now, for the first time in history, governments can add value to a monetary unit that's globally accepted with natural resources and not labor. You have to understand that when they tax us, what they are taxing is our energy. They are taxing our energy that we put out in a form of labor. What has the value is the energy. The energy is what they are transferring, and the energy is what is recognized to have the value. When I work for 1 hour, let's say I make $20 an hour. When I work for that $20 and they take out, let's say just for shits and goods, that they take out 10 in taxes. Well, I've actually put out $20 worth of value energy. Well, the government is supposed to actually take that value energy and move that energy into something productive for the nation. Like they take my $10 of value energy and they use the current energy, currency, see the word? And they use that to have a highway built. So they have taken my current energy, currency, and they have purchased someone else's labor with the current energy in the currency. You see what I'm saying? Now, with the Bitcoin, the way it's created is with energy. That energy has a value. That energy has a current energy value, currency value. And that's why, right? That's why why do you think we're in El Salvador right now? Why do you think I launched my office? My first office, well, my second office, my first out of U.S. office in El Salvador, because they're going to be the first to reach the Bitcoin standard because they are using a volcano to create and produce the Bitcoin. They're using a natural resource of energy to create a currency, current energy, currency to create the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin then represents the currency, the current energy, and people will be paid with the Bitcoin. So, the El Salvadorian government is creating transferable currency, transferable current energy, not using the citizens of El Salvador's labor. They're using the natural energy of the earth to create a currency that can be used to actually pay for the social needs of the country. So they can produce the Bitcoin and use the Bitcoin to pay for the roads. See, this is where the rest of the world is going. America, and it's gonna start out at the local level. There's already mayors, there's already governors that are talking about taking excess energy and mining the Bitcoin with it. Then they'll be able to lower the taxes of the people as they ramp up the production of the mining facilities. You see how this is going? This is what I'm talking about. This is why the world's about to change, folks. But also, look at the bad guys. Look at the globalists. What type of taxation are they trying to come up with? They're trying to actually tax the energy, the carbon, the energy of the countries. You see it? Do you see what they're trying to do? They know this is coming just as much as I do. They want, because they know without this taxation structure, they go away. They have no funding mechanism. Thank you, Rick. They have no funding mechanism for their global government. So they're in a hurry to get this global taxation structure built? Well, not here, folks. Not in El Salvador. And not in America. Because the Supreme Court is going to continue knocking it down. Knocking down the legal illusion, the code of the matrix. Remember, the matrix was code. The law is code. The code that holds up the matrix is the laws and regulations. The Supreme Court is taking down the matrix. My friends, it's a beautiful, beautiful time to be alive. But it's going to be a fight, folks. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight for the freedom of humanity. You'll have to forgive me. My sinuses are just clogged up like crazy. Now, because of YouTube's wonderful new algorithm, I gotta go. Anything past a half hour, and I'm gonna get knocked off here again. But because I got my own servers now, I'm going over to Patreon. And today on Patreon, we're wrapping up the second half of the Ronald Reagan interview that explains what's coming next and gives you the historical knowledge that you're going to need to understand and explain to your friends and family what's going on. So click the link under here, join Patreon, and I will see you there in about 5 minutes. You guys need this knowledge, and then it's only $5 a month. And I think if you sign up for a year, you get, I think you get like cash off, and it's well worth it, folks. I basically do logic and true history over on Patreon. Unfortunately for YouTube, you can't really tell the truth on YouTube anymore, especially historical truth. They don't like historical truth. So click the link under the video, and I will see you on Patreon in 5 minutes. Let's get it, guys.